All right, guys, so I know that I talk about double standards and hypocrisy a lot on my channel because that is basically the Democrat Party in a nutshell. They're full of double standards and hypocrites, okay? And this situation right here, this story right here, involving New York City Mayor Eric Adams, and the potential response to it, okay, which I predict there's not going to be a response to it. It's going to be swept under the rug. It's really going to reveal the double standard that there is out there, specifically when it comes to what people who are non-white are allowed to say and what people who are white are allowed to say, okay, and the standards that they are held to, right? Two different standards, especially when it comes to using racial slurs, right? We've had this conversation before, and there was a resurfaced video of Mayor Eric Adams just flat out using a anti-white racial slur that would get a white person fired if the roles were reversed. But before we get into that, I just remind you guys, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support me, you can do that with the links in the description below. You can support the PayPal, you can support the Patreon, you can support the merch. There are multiple ways to support my channel if you would like to support. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video of Eric Adams using an anti-white racial slur that, in my opinion, probably should lead to his resignation. Take a look.
Every day in the police department, I kicked those crackers' ass, man. I was unbelievable in the police department when one of the blacks in law enforcement. Came a sergeant, a lieutenant, and a captain. You know the story. Some people all of a sudden trying to reinvent me. But the reality is, what I was then is who I am now. I'm called again. So it's so interesting. I'm coming right after the sister talking about cannabis. I would rather wear white all day, grow a beard, smoke some weed, and leave this stuff alone. You hear me? Man, these Negroes, boy, these Negroes that wake up every day and don't like themselves, they're gonna beat me up. The people who say, where's our real black leaders? They're gonna say, listen, who's Eric? You know, why does Eric think he should be mayor? Well, Negro, you run. You run. Go raise this $7 million. You know, go do this hits. Let me tell you something, man. They are lining up. Eric can't be mayor. In the corners of the city, they are lining up. They know me. They know what I'm about. And they know what I'm going to do as the mayor of the city of New York. Listen, we're not going to play this game. We're taking 30% off the top of MWBEs. Not saying give it to a majority company to pass through. No, we're going to take the 30% off the top. Y'all have your 70%. The 30% is going to go straight to the women and minority-owned business. Now, let me...
All right, guys. So that video was from 2019, okay? I think that was when he was basically gearing up to run for mayor. And it doesn't sound like this dude is kind of in denial about his promotions at the New York City Police Department. Probably because of affirmative action, this man felt the need to go up here and to reassure everybody that, hey, I kicked those C words, you know what? You guys can trust me. I'm down, bruh. You know? And I moved up the ranks, okay? Because I was kicking those C words butts. That's what this man is saying. And, you know, here's the thing, man. Eric Adams, he at first, when I first heard about the guy, he was actually, in my opinion, a promising dude, right? I'm like, all right, this dude seems like a moderate, okay? He seemed like somebody that's going to be tough on crime. You know, seemed more like kind of an old school Democrat, okay? But as soon as this man got in office, he quickly revealed who he really is, okay? Supporting people who are non-citizens voting, right? Which, in my opinion, is just asinine, right? It's crazy. Okay, he supports the soft on crime prosecutor of New York City. He supports the mandates. Okay, he extended them. Again, the guy, in my opinion, just really hasn't impressed at all. He seems to be Bill de Blasio 2.0, but a more racialized version. Okay, because I mean, this guy literally tried to justify appointing his brother, who's unqualified, to a commissioner position because of white supremacy. Right? He said that his brother has to be there to protect us from white supremacy. Right, so this guy has no issues race baiting whatsoever. In fact, a couple years ago, during MLK Day speech, this guy went on this race-based rant in which he basically told people from like Iowa and Ohio to get out of New York, to leave New York. Take a look.
You were waking up to gunshots and not alarm clocks, and you stayed. You were here before Starbucks. You were here before others came and decided they wanted to be part of this city. Folks are not only hijacking your apartments and displacing your living arrangements, they displace your conversations and said the things that are important to you are no longer important. And they decide what's important and what's not important. Go back to Iowa. You go back to Ohio. New York City belongs to the people that was here and made New York City what it is. And I know I'm a New Yorker. I protected this city. I have a right to put my voice and how the city should run. Thank you, man.
Guys, what's the difference between that and go back to Mexico, right? What's the difference, okay? When somebody says go back to Mexico, or put it this way, let's be less controversial here, right? When somebody says something like, hey, you know, illegal immigrants will come over here taking your jobs, right? Changing your way of life, okay? When that type of rhetoric is used to promote strong border policies, the Democrats say that's racist, right? Democrats say that's racist. But when Eric Adams, though, sits up there and basically, you know, tells people, hey, Iowans, people from Ohio, y'all need to get out of here, right? Y'all need to leave. You're gentrifying our neighborhoods too much, right? Y'all got to go, right? You're changing our way of life. Not racist, right? Not racist. And we all know what he's trying to say. He's talking about white folks, right? We know exactly what he's trying to say, okay? Again, the double standard here, I find to be amazing what Democrats are allowed to get away with, what they can say and what they can't say, right? And, you know, Eric Adams, again, is once again proving that this dude is a career-long race baiter, which means he fits in perfectly with the Democrat Party. Probably the perfect Democrat candidate for president in 2024, right? He is a OG master race baiter. Now, in regards to these specific comments about, you know, calling his colleagues the C word, that's what it sounded like to me. Okay, he was talking about how he outworked or, you know, moved up the ranks and kicked their butts, okay, but called them a racial slur. To me, that's very troubling, right? You're calling your colleagues, the white guys that you work with, you're calling them racial slurs, right? You're referring to them in a way that, to me, suggests that you have some racial biases, right? Specifically against white folks, okay? And again, if that was a white person saying, hey, I kicked these N-words butts to move up the ranks, the woke revolutionaries be coming for the dude's throat, right? They be coming for the man's job. They be like, yo, you gotta resign. You can't be a public official saying racist things like this, using this type of racial rhetoric, right? You can't be doing this. It's unacceptable. That's what they be saying. And I'm sure Eric Adams would agree, because every time you look, he's always accusing somebody of being racist, okay? Like he accused Andrew Yang of being racist. Okay, doing a campaign trail. But I guarantee you, this will be swept under the rug. Nobody will say anything about it. Okay? And I'm consistent on this, guys, because I have, you know, said in the past, listen, you know, when you are a public official, you have to be held to a higher standard. Okay? When you come out here and say overt racist slurs like that, to that level, okay, when you calling people N-words and C-words, you probably should step down. Okay, you probably have some racial bias. Okay, I said that when it came to Judge Odenay down there, in Alabama, Mississippi, in the South. Okay, when she used the N-word, I was like, yeah, you gotta step down, right? I said that when it came to the black judge that was in Alabama, the black woman. She was calling people Uncle Toms, right? Saying all types of crazy stuff. Yeah, you gotta step down. Okay, there was a dude on city council, Tommy Bryant, right? I love that guy. Because he, you know, for various reasons. But this dude used the N-word and a city council member. I'm like, yeah, I mean, ideally you step down. Now, I don't want those people to be forced. The government should not force them to do so. But ideally, you got to step down if that's how you feel about a certain group of people, right? And you're making it known to everybody that's how you feel. You're in public office, right? Should we have a mayor who thinks his colleagues, the police that work for him are C-words, right? Which is a term that historically refers to poor white folks in the South, okay? I'm just saying. Can we have that? According to the woke left, we can't, right? But in a situation like this, you're not going to hear anything about it, right? You're never gonna hear anything about this. This won't be on CNN, it won't be on MSNBC, it won't be on any of those networks. But again, this guy was white, specifically if he was white and Republican, especially if he was white and Republican, right? Like Ron DeSantis. Yeah, Ron DeSantis said something like this. Boy, you would never hear the end of it. You would never hear the end of it. Just like with Ron DeSantis a few years ago, when he was running against Andrew Gillum, who's black, Ron DeSantis made a comment like, hey, Florida voters can't monkey this up by electing Andrew Gillum. Okay? The woke mainstream liberal media, they wouldn't stop covering it, right? They wouldn't stop talking about it. And they kept bringing it up over and over and over again, right? That this dude said something that possibly could have a racial connotation to it. Okay? Even though it's not a direct slur, okay? That he didn't call him the N-word or anything like that, okay? He just used a figure of speech that, you know, some people want to associate with black folks, right? So when it comes to Eric Adams, if we're using the same standards that the Democrats have established for us when it comes to using racial slurs and saying stuff like this, doesn't matter if it was said in the past, doesn't matter if it was said before the dude actually took office. The Democrats have established we can punish you for that, i.e. Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? What they try to do with her, punishing her for things that she said before she was even in office, right? Again, man, the double standard here is amazing. Okay, if Eric Adams is allowed to say stuff like this, then hey, everybody should be allowed to say stuff like this. And I'll honestly be like, you know what? Whatever. I don't really care, right? Because it's fair game. And I support free speech, right? I mean, free speech advocate. So in my ideal world, people can say stuff like this and, hey, they, you know, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Up to the voters to vote them out, right? That's how I feel about it. But the fact that everybody's not allowed to say stuff like this means that Democrats can't say stuff like this, right? Which means that he should resign, right? He should resign for saying this, okay? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.